Hi, I'm Greg. I have a couple questions on the electromagnetic model of a photon. Things that just don't add up to me. I was hoping I could present them here and someone could explain them to me, or who knows, maybe I'm onto something. So in just about any college textbook, when you look at the electromagnetic model of a photon, you'll see a picture like this. You'll have two sinusoidal waves at 90 degrees apart. One's the electric field component, one is the magnetic field component. Let's take a minute to look at the general formula of one of these sine waves. A is your amplitude, how high it vibrates up and down. The K component is how quickly it oscillates, as in how long or short an entire wavelength is. The higher K is, the smaller the wavelength. Omega T can be thought of as a shift, moving the entire sine wave left or right along the x-axis. Then you have your variables, x, which is the position you are along the x-axis, and t, the time component, again contributes to a shift of the entire wave. So the first question I had with this diagram is, how come the two waveforms are in phase? I would think a collapsing magnetic wave would induce an electric wave, and a collapsing electric wave would induce a magnetic wave. So they would be 90 degrees out of phase. That would make more sense to me. But then I'm thinking, wait a minute. Magnetic fields are always in a loop. No beginning, no end. North-south, continuous. This has a beginning and points in a direction, so it's not a loop. That doesn't make sense to me. It's called Gauss's law for magnetism. Let's get into that a bit. This is Gauss's law for magnetism, the second of Maxwell's equations, and it simply states that for any area, magnetic field that flows in has to flow out. It has to be in a loop. I'll show you a couple pictures to explain this better. This is an example of an electric field. Every electric flux line flows from positive to negative and has a distinct beginning and end. This is an example of a magnetic field. Every flux line is a loop, flows through the magnet from south to north, then out of the magnet and back in, always a continuous loop. So this is how Gauss's law for magnetism applies. In the diagram, I've drawn two simple closed loops, and you can see every magnetic flux line that flows into a circled area also flows out, leaving a net zero magnetic charge. So let's go back to the electromagnetic model of a photon. Look at the electric field component in blue. It has a beginning, right along the z-axis in this picture. It's supposed to. That's the way electric fields work. But the magnetic field component does as well. But they're not supposed to have a beginning. They're supposed to be a continuous loop. What's wrong with this? How can we fix it? Well, I do have a thought on that. Most textbooks simply state that the electric and magnetic component of the photon are simply sine waves or a transverse wave. But they kind of gloss over how they get to that. They'll say something like, well, this is the simplest wave. What if it's not the correct wave? There are three types of waves. First is the transverse wave, which is the simple sinusoidal wave like an ocean wave that everyone is familiar with. The second is the compressional wave. You can think of it as a slinky hanging from bits of thread from the ceiling, and you push it and you'll see areas of compression and rarefaction. A good example of a compressional wave is the sound wave. The third type of wave, which most people don't know that much about, is the torsional wave. Think of it as a garden hose laid out straight with a line going down the side. Now if I grab the hose at one end and I give it a twist, that rotation will propagate through the length of the hose until it reaches the other end. That is a torsional wave. So if the magnetic component of a photon is a torsional wave rather than a transverse wave, it can be a loop. It can spin in a circle, alternating left and right, back and forth as it propagates. Now the electric component has to be orthogonal, or at 90 degrees, to the magnetic wave. You can do this if the electric wave is compressional, as in it goes along the axis as opposed to 90 degrees to the axis.
Now, some people will talk about the left-hand rule or the right-hand rule, but was that really a rule, or was it more of a mnemonic trick? That's my question.
So that's it. So where's the hole in my logic? Where am I going wrong? If you could explain it to me, I'd appreciate it. Or, who knows, maybe something I said there made sense. Thank you.